I think their fielding was substandard. I think some of their bowling was substandard, and I think some of their decision making with the bat was substandard for the high standards of Indian cricket.
England's tour of India is off to a winning start. Remember, this is the place to be, following the action every day of the series, and you can get involved yourself. Ask Harmy on Twitter, #AskHarmy, or use the comments section below, and like and subscribe.
It's around the wicket, it's taken by Stokes and slip, and is that the edge and the breakthrough? Yes it is, Pujara.
Anderson again.
And he bowled in now, that's a brilliant comeback. Incredible bowling from Jimmy Anderson.
Here's Stokes again.
Bowled in, Ben Stokes has done it. A key moment in this test match.
Oh, well bowled.
Yes, really well bowled. A little nick from Jasprit Bumrah, and the test match is over.
So England win the first test match in Chennai by 227 runs, Steve Harmison. There were some moments today, so let me put it to you. What was the moment of the day? Was it Jack Leach with a dismissal first up of Pujara? Was it one of Jimmy Anderson's brilliant bowls, Rahane in this instance? Was it Virat Kohli being dismissed, or was it the final wicket of the day?
There was many, and the final wicket is a good one, but for me, Anderson. I thought Jimmy Anderson proved why he's the greatest of all time. You know, his longevity has been ridiculous. You know, the age he's at, his catch first up on the first day, catch low down, 38-year-old diving forward. You know, he says age is a number, but the spell he bowled in this between, I think it was just before lunch, 3 wickets in that session, for me, typifies what Anderson is. Anybody that's got a suspect or anything in their technique, Jimmy Anderson will exploit it. And for 3 wickets he did. He was brilliant.
I just wonder whether anybody in India still refers to him as Jimmy Clouderson.
Not now, definitely not now. And I think because of the way Jimmy's bowling, is Jimmy getting better with age? I just think I don't think he's changed too much. What he does is he bowls the ball in and around off stump, and he uses laterally the angles of the crease, and his wrist position moves the ball slightly. And I just think the way the modern batsmen go now, especially now we're watching this Indian unit, the modern batsmen now don't block too many balls, don't defend too many balls. And when their technique's in question because they're trying to hit the ball, Jimmy Anderson's the best at exploiting it. And I think that's why he's took his wickets today.
Okay, fair enough, but I'm going to completely disagree. My moment of the day was Jack Leach. Because I came into today's play wondering whether England were going to win today. I thought they were 65-35 favourites. And the moment I saw Jack Leach spin one past the bat of Shubman Gill and then follow that up with the wicket of Pujara, I knew England were going to win. So for me, that is moment of the day. So England win in India, 227-run victory. They win the toss. The captain scores 200. They take all their catches. All the bowlers contribute with the ball. And then when they come to the end of the game, it's pretty much, we're looking back at the perfect result.
Absolutely. I'm giving England 9.75 out of 10. The only 0.25 I'm not giving them is for 20 minutes on either side of when they batted, first and second innings. Just a little meandering of not having an idea of what they're trying to do or where they're trying to go. A lot of question marks was mentioned on Joe Root's captaincy and declaration. I thought he answered that. Not only emphatically.
Hang on. And they were asked here as well. So, hands up. You were quite happy with what was going on day 4, but social media was hand-wringing, and I must admit I was getting a bit nervous as well.
Well, he said afterwards he was the best person to make that decision. Why? Because he was the man that spent the most time on that surface. Seen the way the deterioration was going, understood what it needed, and then declared it the right time. The 0.25 I'm not giving them was the 20 minutes at the either side of first and second innings when things were just meandering, and that's the only fault I can give Joe Root's men. For me, it was nearly the perfect performance. And if they play somewhere near that over the course of the next 3 test matches, England will win for the first time in India since 2012, and that was the last time this side's that's the last time India's getting beat since then. So for me, a remarkable achievement. Don't want to look too far ahead, but England have got some benchmark they've set themselves.
Well, let's hear from the England captain.
The toss was always going to be important, but from that point on, it was really crucial that we exploited that and we made the most of the opportunity to bat first on that wicket. Speak about batting long and making big scores first innings in these conditions. We did that brilliantly well, and then from that point on, I thought we played all the cricket and we were in control of the game the whole way through. And the guys were exceptional today, in particular. To bowl them out in that manner was fabulous. So, really pleasing performance and fills us with confidence going into the rest of the series.
Don't forget, you can get involved as well. Hashtag AskHarmy or use the comments section below and the main man will get back to you. Let's be greedy though. Looking to the second test, I know you gave England 9.75 out of 10, but Rory Burns will feel that he could possibly do with a score. Dominic Sibley as well, Dan Lawrence, even Ollie Pope, two decent scores if you look at the scoreboard, but a little bit skittish. Fair enough, considering these players haven't played a lot of cricket. But going to that second test match, if you were going to ask for even more from England, what would it be? Yeah,
you want more. That's right. 9.75 out of 10 is a team score. It's a collective unit. They couldn't have gone any better for England. Win the toss, captain leading by the front, getting a double 100. England's gone over 550 and dictating the game. Declaration, when you declare that, no better feeling than declaring in a test match, especially to set up a win. Couldn't have gone any better. Caught all their catches. Individually, yes, there will be some people who will look to brush up and want more from themselves. As a collective unit, no, I think they were brilliant. You're right, you're naming some names there who would want to, and I think England will make changes going forward. I think the spin department will just look to just polish it up a little bit. What I'm over the moon at is they've got wickets. They've both got wickets. They've both got a 4 for in the test match. Both wicket-taking balls, and it'll just be a case of just polishing things up. Ollie Pope, yes, I thought he actually batted quite well, to be fair. I thought we
don't have to agree on everything.
Yeah, I thought he batted well. I thought his energy was great. I think the reason why I did him 9.75 out of 10, that 20 minutes after Ollie Pope got out, I would imagine Ollie Pope might be sitting there thinking, you know what, I've done everything I possibly can for the team here, and then we're going kicking balls that were pitching outside leg stump. So I think that's why I think there's a little bit of, that's where things can get better. But all in all, individuals might look at themselves and want to polish their performance, but as a team, you couldn't ask for any more.
Brilliant stuff. Well, let's hear from England's all-time leading wicket taker. I mean, we're going to be saying that for a long time, aren't we? Jimmy Anderson.
I guess when a batsman gets in rhythm and in form, they want to just keep batting and keep that rhythm going. And it's the same for a bowler. You want to keep that going as much as possible. But I'm very aware that we've got 4 test matches in quick succession here, and there will be probably a need to rest and rotate. It's been talked about before we even got to Sri Lanka. So I'm not presuming anything. I'm just I'll try and rest and recover from this game as best I can in the next day or two, and then get back in the nets and try and put my name in the hat for Saturday, and we'll just see what happens.
Well, he keeps being written off, but he's still here. He keeps producing. And now suddenly you're thinking, how can they drop Jimmy Anderson from the second test? But if they don't drop Jimmy Anderson, who do they drop, or do they keep going with the winning team? But hang on, it's back-to-back tests. And hang on, it could be a more spin-friendly Chennai track.
Yeah, there's a lot of things to come into the melting pot from this, but one thing that did come from that interview talking to Jimmy is Jimmy does not want to not play in this next test match. And I think the reason why is because like I've said many times, and I keep banging the drum about how good he is and the technique of the opposition batsman. I think Jimmy Anderson's thinking, if I bowl 5 or 6 good dot balls against this Indian unit, then I will make them make a mistake. And I think while he's got that, and he's not had that much time like that in the subcontinent. So you want to make the most of it. Bring Stuart Broad back in. I think they will bring Broad in for Anderson. It's a difference between what I'll do or what they'll do. I think they will bring Broad in. Possibly, I'll throw one into the melting pot. I think I would like to see Moeen Ali play. Where you find a place for him, I'm not sure. There is going to turn a lot more because this pitch that they're going to play on Saturday has been exposed for five days in the Chennai sun. If there's nothing really too much, and if England don't believe that Jofra Archer can have the effect that he had on the first innings of this game, and they really think that it is just going to crumble all told, England might go Broad and Anderson just to bowl maidens and really put pressure on the Indian batsmen. I personally don't think that's a bad idea, because if the two of them bowl together as a tandem and bowl maiden after maiden after maiden, and the Indian batsmen aren't going anywhere, I think England might feel as though if we put pressure on India not to score, they will give their wicket away. That's what arguably just happened in this Test match. So that might be food for thought for the England selectors.
So you heard it here first. Stuart Broad's going to play, and Moeen Ali's going to play. Anderson's going to play, and essentially Steve Harmison's picking a 12-man squad. Look, I know there wasn't a lot for India to laugh about throughout this series, but there was one moment on today which the collective, I'm not sure how many caps we've got in the talkSPORT 2 commentary team, nobody had ever seen this happen before.
Skin here, that thumps into the thigh pad and it's bowled him. It's bowled him. It's either bowled him or he's trod on his stumps, one or the other. But it is the end of the Test match. Ishant Sharma has been done by Jofra Archer. They're going to take a moment here to be sure of the mode of dismissal. But believe me, it is a dismissal. It is the end of the match.
Director, it's dead ball. Dead ball, please.
What's going on there?
Well, I have to take back everything I've just said.
Dead ball.
I've never seen that in all these years in the game. The bail was off and the stump was already back before the ball was released.
Haunted.
That is weird. Harmy reckons there was an insect, a very strong insect, to knock that off. Well, the game isn't over. I'm sorry, I retract everything I said.
Well, we still don't really know what happened. We all thought it was a wicket of Ishant Sharma. We all thought that the Test was over, but Ishant Sharma knew he wasn't out, and you know what? Ollie Pope was pretty sure he wasn't out as well.
Yeah, it was quite a bizarre moment. Mark Nicholas, who has seen thousands of games throughout his career, said he's never seen anything like it. Ollie Pope, Ishant Sharma were convinced that nothing had happened. Lads were shaking hands. The game was going to be over, and it was a famous England victory. The only thing I could think of is Ishant Sharma's whacked his bat off the ground, and because it was the same stump what Ben Stokes had dislodged for Virat Kohli, that the stump hole had got a bit bigger and that dislodged the bail. But it was amusing for 5 minutes, because what you would find in the old days, loads of people running on the pitch, they think it's all over, and actually it wasn't quite.
No, it absolutely wasn't. It was a funny moment for both sides, but I'm not sure we're going to be laughing in a minute, because Akash Chopra gives us an idea of where India are going to go following that defeat.
Oh, well bowled. Yes, really well bowled. A little nick from Jasprit Bumrah, and the Test match is over.
It won't matter to me, honestly, because the second Test match on the similar kind of surface, the square is still pretty much the same. The sun's been beating down, so you know that the next pitch is going to be a lot more spin friendly from get-go. So Hardik Pandya, in my opinion, does not come into the picture at all. Bowling or no bowling, the fact is you don't need a fast bowling all-rounder. You don't need a batsman who can bowl seam up, even if it's just restrictive bowling. But that's not what you need. You need to pick up 20 wickets and pick them up in quick time. So you look at spinners and not at the batting all-rounders. So Akshar Patel, I think his availability will be closely monitored, because you want him in the side in place of Washington Sundar, maybe, because Akshar can also bat a little.
Well, it's been an absolute delight having Akash Chopra as part of the talkSPORT 2 commentary team. And he surprised us a little bit, didn't he? Because we were kind of expecting him to say there would be a couple of changes for the second Test. But what we have seen from the Australia series is that this India team will not panic.
No, they'll not panic, and he did. He surprised me. He surprised me a hell of a lot, because he was saying the two seamers would stay the same, which I kind of think I'd like Mohammad Siraj to have a go, because he takes the ball away from the right-handed batsman, and with England dominant right-handed with only Ben Stokes in the side, that would make more sense, possibly instead of Ishant Sharma. But now he's convinced that Ishant's going to play. Ashwin's going to play as long as his body holds up. And I think there was some impacts on his finger. He's bowled 70-odd overs. It's going to be looks if they're going to play the same three spinners. Then it could be a long old summer for our Ashwin. So I think they need to get Kuldeep Yadav in the side. They're worried about the batting with Pant at number 6. So all this comes into the melting pot. But Ashak is on the ground over in Chennai. He thinks that not going to be many changes. I think possibly could be one. I think Nadeem will come out, and I think Kuldeep Yadav will come in, depending on fitness of Akshar Patel. But for me, That's one change. Bring in a wrist spinner to give them some sort of variation to help Ravi Ashwin.
Well, Virat Kohli spoke following play. Let's hear what he had to say.
The test probably shifted in their favour when we batted in the first innings, because we were looking to bat long and we were not able to do that. And I don't think there was enough application shown by us as a batting unit. Something that we take a lot of pride in. And yeah, we look, these milestones and all these kind of things is not something that we think about. We think partnerships, and we think putting the team into good positions. So whether someone has scored a century or not in the last 5 games is not something that matters to us. We want to be able to have long partnerships, and in that process, if people get to a big milestone and carry on, it's good. Even if someone had gotten 100 in either innings, still we were pretty much behind the game. So that's what we need to understand, rather than thinking about milestones and what we haven't been able to achieve as batsmen in terms of scoring centuries and all that stuff. For us, it's about trying to win a game of cricket, and if we need to play solid cricket, we should be able to do that as batsmen as well. There's just not one way to play the game, and as a batting unit, we understand that quite well, and our endeavour in the future games is going to be long partnerships and not necessarily focus on getting 100 as individuals.
So Virat Kohli presides over another Indian defeat, and this is the thing, isn't it? Of course, he left the Australia series to attend the birth of his first child, missing the historic come-from-behind victory in Australia. Will the pressure on him just start to rise just that extra notch in his own mind as much as anything?
Yeah, I think in his own mind more than anything else. I said right at the very start, before the test match started, that if England were to get on top of India, that would be where to push and try and ram the pressure, in words of the Indian captain, because this is his 4th consecutive test match defeat as captain. So that's huge in itself. Rahane did well in Australia. The team came back in. It was like winning without the great leader. But he speaks well, Virat, and his batting was. I thought his batting was beautiful.
Yeah.
He batted fantastically well. He held the team together, which you would from a modern day great. He is one of the greats of our game of all time. I think from within, when he's in his room on his own, he could be looking at himself and feeling a little bit of pressure. Externally, you'll never see that from Virat Kohli. That's what makes him great. I think there'll be stern question marks of his team, because even though things went well for England, and he to be fair to him, brilliant, great interview. He said, take nothing away from England, they were fantastic. I think their fielding was substandard. I think some of their bowling was substandard, and I think some of their decision making with the bat was substandard for the high standards of Indian cricket and the Indian captain. So I think he might have a look at himself behind closed doors, but I don't think you'll see that in public. I think he will be the usual rock solid Virat Kohli, and he'll expect a little bit more for his team in 3 or 4 days' time.
Do you think that actually it's India who have come into this series a little bit, on one hand, undercooked, but also probably a little bit knackered as well? That series in Australia would have taken it out of them to a huge level. The other thing is, of course, they did lose the toss. That is always important. And they've got another thing in their advantage for the second test match. You picked up on this before the series. You said the fact that there'll be no fans in the ground is going to be a massive benefit for England. If fans are back in the ground for the second test match, they win the toss, suddenly India are back.
Oh, absolutely. If anybody, don't get carried away of thinking England are going to win the series and it's going to be 4-0 and it's going to be everything. I predicted that India would win 3-0, 4-0 or 3-1 at least, because I thought England would do well in the day-night test match. I look at this side. I just think this side was a little bit complacent. I really do. I really thought India took England lightly. I think that they did. I think they think, right, England won against Sri Lanka. Wasn't a great Sri Lanka side. England have come in with a little bit of confidence, finding a way to win. But I actually think India, as much as you can say it, whatever you want about India in Australia, it was a fantastic win, great achievement over in Australia, and they might have a little bit of mental fatigue. But I actually think the biggest fault that India had in this going into this test match was actually, I think, they took England lightly.
So, Harmy, what age were you when you retired?
32, I think it was 31, 32. 35 for first class. Body had gone. knew the body had gone. I know where you're going with this start of the day. I know where you're going with this. It is a ridiculous start of the day. I'm not going to steal your thunder because you.
No, you steal it. I mean, it is a ridiculous stat. Jimmy Anderson today became the man with the most amount of Test wickets after turning 30. He went past Courtney Walsh, the West Indian great, 343 Test wickets since turning 30. Do you ever think that maybe you retired too early?
No, my body, my lifestyle didn't. I was old school, my lifestyle, a bit like Goffey. I like the pub too much, I like the pies too much, and as you can see, since I've retired, there's not much fitness being going on, but it's a great lesson to anybody, any young kids going out there, because the longevity, if you want longevity in your career, you have to put the hard work in. I've known Jimmy Anderson since he was 18-year-old, and this kid just bowls overs. He doesn't just bowl them in Test matches, he bowls them in practice, he bowls them away from the game. This guy is a phenomenal athlete. He's got a mindset to get 600 Test wickets. It's just frightening. And he is a great role model, and we are so blessed to have him and his mate Stuart. And I think the lesson is, if you can get past 70 Test matches in your career, you will get better. Ishant Sharma's proved it to get to 300 Test wickets because he averaged 40 when he got to his 70th. He averaged 40 in his 70th Test match. He now averages under 30 in 90-odd Test matches. And Jimmy Anderson and Stuart Broad have never looked back since they have gone past 70 Test matches. They're a credit to our country, and we might just see them in the second Test match together.
Well, we will be back for the second Test match on Outside Edge. You can follow all the action on talkSPORT 2 from 3:45 in the morning. But following play, this is the place to be. Get your questions into Steve Harmison. Use the comments section below, like and subscribe, and we'll see you next time.